Hello, this is Jenny Kassan. I'm the queen of getting your business funded in ways that allow you to stay in control and do things on your own terms. So today I wanted to talk about term sheets. So what is a term sheet? If you've raised money before, you've probably heard this term sheets. It's basically just a piece of paper, and it's not a required thing, but it's a convenience that you can use when you're raising money, and it basically is a description of exactly what the investor is getting when they invest in your business. Because making an investment, that's a very vague term. Like, what does it mean to make an investment? Basically, the way I define making an investment is someone gives you money and eventually they somehow get their money back plus some extra money on top of that. That's an investment. And obviously there's so many different ways that could happen. They could lend you money. They could buy a piece of your company, which is called equity. They could buy some kind of a convertible instrument where it starts out as one thing and then later converts into something else. So it's really important to know, what are the terms of the investment that people are making in your company? I'm kind of surprised how many entrepreneurs will talk to investors without really having a lot of clarity about that. And sometimes you're told, don't worry about that. The investor will decide what the terms are going to be. Just let the investor decide if they want to invest in you, and then they'll tell you how they're going to invest in your business. But that's not a very good idea, because the way someone invests in your business has a huge effect on the likelihood of success of your business, the likelihood that you're going to have a good long-term relationship with your investors, or whether things are kind of going to go off the rails. So it's really good to be knowledgeable about term sheets. And in the world where the way I work with clients, I advise them to create their own term sheets. I create the term sheets for them, but we work on it together and we design the term sheet to fit exactly what is right for the company. Because I believe it should be a decision made by the company founders, not by an investor, the way the investors get paid, because the company founders know best what's going to be most in alignment with their vision, their mission, their goals. So I just thought what I would maybe mention today is some things to think about if you are raising money in the form of equity, an equity investment. Some people, when they say equity, they automatically assume that it's a certain type of an equity investment. So like, you'll sometimes hear people say, that company is really not a good fit for a venture capital investment. They really shouldn't be raising equity. So you'll hear people kind of acting as if equity investment and venture capital investment are the same thing. But that's not true. A venture capital investment is a type of equity investment. There's so many different ways to structure it. Some people think if you're going to get an equity investment, it must be the same as a venture capital style investment, but that's not true. So what is a venture capital style investment? That is a type of investment where the way the investor gets paid is they buy a piece of your company at a certain price. It's called a priced round sometimes, because the investor is negotiating with you about the price of, like, they're going to say maybe, hey, I'll take 10% of the ownership of your company in exchange and I'll give you, for that 10%, I'll give you $250,000, let's say. And so they're pricing that equity. And you agree, there's no magic to that price. It's just something you all agree on. And then the way they get paid is they wait and they hope that within 5 to 7 years, you will sell the company to a larger company for hopefully 10 times the value of the price at which the investor invested at a minimum. They would love to see it be more than 10 times. And they want you to do that within 5 to 7 years. And that is not a common thing for a company to multiply that fast in size in that short a time. So that type of an equity investment, it's true, is not a good fit for many, many, many companies. What it takes to grow a company that fast is it's something you have to really want to do and be willing to do. And by the way, on top of that model for how investors get paid, often you do lose control of your company as well. So, but the thing is, there's so many different ways you can structure equity. You can structure equity in such a way where you don't have to have that type of an exit, or where you sell the company for the investors to get paid. There's many, many ways for investors to get paid. So I'm going to just quickly give you 3 things that you'll want to think about for your term sheet. So number 1 is dividends. Dividends can be paid to investors when your company becomes profitable. So once your company starts to become profitable, you can take some of those profits and pay them out to investors in the form of dividends. So that's a way investors can get paid without you ever having to sell your company. There's also something called a liquidation preference. That is what happens if you do sell your company or you go out of business. And you can decide, what would that look like? If I did sell the company, what would the investors get? What would I get? I actually have some clients that they don't want to be pressured to sell their company. So the way they set up the liquidation preference is they say if they were to ever sell the company, the investor can only get back what they originally put in and nothing more. So that's an option. There's many, many ways to structure that. A third thing that you will want to look for in your equity term sheet is redemption options. Redemption is what happens when someone who has made an equity investment in your company exits from that investment by selling their stock or their equity back to the company. So that's another way you can have someone exit from their investment without you having to sell the company. And there's many, many ways to structure that. You can buy them out over time. You can take your profits and use your profits to slowly buy them out over time so that they can exit without you having to sell the company. So those are just some of the terms that you should think about when you're working on your term sheet. And we're going to be actually having a training coming up pretty soon about term sheets. So if you're interested in learning more about that, give me a message in the comment section below, and we will make sure to let you know when we launch we're going to be doing a 5-day training on the details of how to design your term sheet so that you can make sure that the way your investors come into your business really fits your goals for your business. All right, have a wonderful day. I will see you next week. Bye.